Welcome to Heart Powered Conversations. Whether you've been on this journey for a while or just starting, chances are you are familiar with the art of tarot. Today, I have my dear friend Christina coming to talk about all things tarot and sharing her incredible life story with us, sharing her gifts, sharing her pain, sharing her victories, sharing her incredible trust in all things universe and the divine. Christina was not always a tarot reader. If you told her 7 years ago that she would be doing this, she would have laughed at you. However, as life would have it, and in a crazy series of life shifts that included divorce, cross-country move, a job loss, Christina found herself turning to the sacred art of tarot to look for guidance from whoever was there, providing guidance. And I will read what she said about the way that it played out. So the genesis of her tarot practice, Shiny Light Oracle, was a stroke of playful spontaneity, inquisitiveness, and the profound faith in its potential to help someone. And that's exactly what she's doing now. She provides a ton of free readings online. You guys, if you have not come across Christina, if you have not listened to her readings, she does general readings, love readings, zodiac readings, and she is available for private readings that I strongly recommend. She is probably, yeah, she is the only tarot reader that I go to in moments of needing clarity, needing confirmation when my own lens seems to be clouded. So I am so honored and so excited to have Christina here. So welcome, Christina. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Thank you, Kat, for having me. Thank you for the beautiful introduction and the beautiful compliments. It's such an honor to be here.
So I always start my interviews by asking this question of how did the universe course correct you and lead you to your heart? How did the heart and the divine find you?
So following my heart has always been, I think, coming to me, or I've been approaching it in phases, in stages. And it had always been like being honest with myself about what I want to do with my life, who I love, what I want to engage in. It's a kind of identification, and it requires a lot of honesty to come to terms with really what you love, because it is the most accurate and most authentic reflection of ourselves. So I was doing that even as a child, and that meant like going against the grain and disobeying even my parents' wishes for me when it came to choices in the courses of study and places to live. Like I would move across country away from my family in pursuit of career paths that I loved, in pursuit of lines of study, like going to university. I moved from Vancouver on the west coast of Canada to Montreal to pursue studies in writing and creative writing, because I knew that that's where my heart was. If I were truly honest, writing and the literary art is what I most identified with, in spite of how I might have been groomed as a child or what I had been exposed to by my parents. Something in my heart knew that this was what resonated with me most. And then it's just, even though it ends up being a riskier and even a lonelier path to follow what you love and who you love, it ultimately does prove to be rewarding. And so as I learned to do that, I would take bigger chances in life as far as pursuing what and whom I loved. And I remember a professor telling me this when I was just like 19 or 20. And he said, your heart takes you places you wouldn't otherwise take yourself, or love would take you places that you wouldn't otherwise take yourself. That is to say that your rational mind might not have chosen these paths, but following our heart, or following what and whom we love, takes us on a journey that is probably most meant for us. And I'd like to think that it would be our highest timeline, our divine path, when we follow our heart. It is the portal to the universe. It's the portal to the universe, to God, to the divine, and to our higher selves.
And it doesn't
So it's
always
just a matter
mean,
of practice, I think, over
yeah,
of many years.
but it doesn't always mean that it's the easiest, because often when we say the highest timeline, we think it's the timeline where we get to run through a field of flowers and find
Right.
pots of gold under the rainbows. That's not what the highest timeline always means.
Exactly. And it takes a while to kind of break through to those levels, because we're having to work through the density that has been sort of bogging us down, bogging down our true free spirit. Whatever has been conditioned, whatever we've been conditioned by, according to like the world, or school, or our parents, or media, breaking through that, and trusting our inner voice, and trusting our hearts, and knowing that that there is, that we are a piece of the divine is working through us. And if we understand that and are willing to accept that, it does require so much courage, because you are going against the grain in many ways, until you start to find more like-minded, like soul family, who can sort of like encourage you along the way. But yeah, for the most part, you're going against the grain, but it's really a kind of, you're fighting for your freedom, really. You're fighting to be who you know you are meant to be, who God created you to be. And yeah, it's harder. But once you get to certain levels, you're able to express your freedom. And that you mentioned earlier, before you started recording, that the Queen of Wands came up for you as you were pulling cards. And for me, the Queen of Wands she's so brave, and she loves herself so much that the opinions and the judgments of others, or the conventions of the world, don't affect her. And that is such a difficult way to be, but that is part of our growth and ascension, becoming, let's say, the page, to the knight, to the Queen of Wands, and possibly even like the masculine King of Wands within us. It's a kind of like disregard even for what others are doing, and trusting your heart, trusting how you're being guided through your passions, through your intuition, yeah, and through your love.
So, as I am doing these interviews, the interesting thing that starts unfolding, there is a theme, right? And it's almost everyone who comes on has a different take on what it means to live a heart-powered life, and also the different qualities of the heart that they hold dear and that they really feel that they're being called to embody. And the interesting thing is, I recorded another episode yesterday with a guest, and the word freedom came up there. And it's coming again with you here. And what I was
Yeah.
hearing was, she is the ultimate. If like there was a knight of freedom, I don't know what that card is, that would be
Mhm.
Christina. And it's like
Oh,
that
wow.
it's the courage and freedom that go hand in hand, that are like intertwined in this case, where when freedom is the driving force, that fuel in your heart, that how do I live a free life? How do I become fully free? What do I have to release? What do I have to leave behind? What do I have to shed? That's
Mhm.
that's the you're an example of that. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, wow. Thank you for saying. So, to be a knight of freedom is to really be able to think for yourself, and trust your thoughts, trust your own mind, trust your gut, trust your instincts, and to act on them. Like, it's one thing to be really intuitive and psychic and woo woo and like, you
Mm.
know, wearing all the beads and I don't know, like dancing with a wolf or something um, under the moonlight. It's one thing to do that, but it's also another thing to get the hit, intuitive hit, to let's say leave a job and start a spiritual practice, or to like record yourself pulling cards and then being vulnerable enough to expose yourself, show your face as you're sharing your story, as you're reading cards for people, as you're coming out of you know, as they say, the spiritual closet, like having that audacity, that gutsiness to act on how you're being called is really the key to unlocking true yourself to true freedom. So yeah, it's like one thing to be free in terms of like your consciousness, but then also to act according to that is like the next level, and that takes courage. And without it, the true freedom isn't possible, isn't accessible. I
And
know, and it's
courage
not
is
easy to
rewarded.
say. It's not easy for people to hear because it is going to
Right.
put you through some harrowing situations in life, because the universe is in a way daring you or like testing your faith. And there's someone that I've been reading for years, and she has her own sort of spiritual business as well. And we're kind of, as much as we love each other, we're kind of at loggerheads when it comes to this point, because she doesn't believe that the universe tests us. But I really do believe that in order to achieve like these higher levels, incrementally higher levels of freedom, it's like to seize the test, this test of faith, and to pass it. And to pass those tests means like white knuckling it through, like, oh my god, whatever the universe is putting you through, whatever distortion, whatever like harrowing phase of your life, but trusting also that it's a phase, trusting that you're going through whatever dark night of the soul and coming out with just a little bit less density, or a whole lot less density than you had going in. It's almost like burning off the 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 darkness, or burning off the excess weight, the excess fat, or whatever, to get to the other side. And the more we do that, the more that our true light body comes through. And there's like no separation between that light body and infinite source. That's true freedom as far as I'm concerned. And we can manifest that in this life, in this like meat suit that we've been gifted in this time, like in this timeline or this life, however you want to look at it.
The
Yeah,
ultimate,
it
the
is
ultimate
a
reward of
matter of like going
returning,
through those.
the ultimate
Sorry.
reward of returning to that oneness, which I think most of
Yes.
us conceptually in our minds, okay, I understand it, I get it, but in practical terms, there is that fear that holds us back from
Yeah.
saying yes to opportunities that stretch us, to the tests that do come up.
Yeah.
The ultimate, do you want to leap? Do you want to pass through all these layers of this expansion spiral and go to the next level? Or are you going to
Right.
stay comfortable where you are? And I think you have quite a story, a personal story to share around being tested and going through the fear gauntlets of
Mhm.
releasing all kinds of fear and things that it's really the programming that I
Yeah.
feel like you've shed so much of it that some of us can only dream of shedding in this lifetime.
Oh, wow. Thank you
Would
for
you mind
saying.
sharing
Yeah. Okay. Well,
some of your
I'll
story?
start by saying this. Like when we trust ourselves or trust our intuition or trust our inner guidance, there are moments where it's like, yes, I'm so like in the zone. I really hear the universe loud and clear, and I'm loving it, and we feel great in those moments. And then there are we know that we've been led to this point, to a certain point, and then it feels like we've been abandoned or dropped off. And maybe that was what the Five of Pentacles that you drew before our reading or before our talk was about, like even feeling abandoned by the universe. Like you brought me all the way here just to like sort of quiet down. You brought me all the way here to a point where now I can't see you, or I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here, or it doesn't feel all that great, like it's feeling very uncomfortable and things are like falling away from my energy field that I thought I needed, and I thought you were providing this for me, but now it's starting to fall away. Like, what is that all about? Because it will feel like, yes, we're being led, and it feels so clear and so certain, and we feel like the universe has got us in the palm of their hands, and the light is shining on our faces, and it's going to be smooth sailing from here. But there's a moment where, or times where they're purposefully kind of like quieting down in that, when we're really like, when our faith is really being tested, that we have to trust that I was led to this point, following my intuition led to this point for a reason. And so even though I'm here and now I'm feeling a little bit uncertain, or a lot uncertain about why I'm at this point now in my path, is my path over? If I can't see the way forward, did I take it? Like there are all these questions, all these doubts. Did I hit a roadblock? Did I hit a dead end? Was I understanding them incorrectly when they told me to like get on the plane and go to the other side of the world? Leave your family, leave the family that you knew growing up, or leaving your friends, leaving the job or a career. Like I thought I got that really quick, like really clearly. And then you're taken over to this new location, let's say, and then all the questions start to arise. And that's part of it. That is part of it. And that's kind of like the testing phase. And when I go through it personally, and maybe others will attest to this, or will have experienced it, or maybe they will recognize this. Like when I see 555, it's like, okay, it's like, hang on, Christina, we're pulling you through, like whatever, we're pulling you through the density, we're pulling you through the dark night of your soul, or another one of your dark nights of the soul, and trust that it's going to be very disorienting for a while, but hang in. And so yeah, you'll be riddled with those questions that you thought you might have overcome in the past, but it's really just like white knuckling it until they pull you through to the other side. So yeah, so beyond like, I started to talk about like following my heart in terms of like lines of work and lines of study, but also people that I've loved, people that I've fallen in love with, cities that I've loved, and feeling that pull. And it really, if you really like feel it, you could like allow yourself to feel it. You can feel the pull. You can feel the magnetism to a person or to a place. But yeah, so I know that you're like waiting for the tough stuff, but I don't want to make anyone nervous, but I do remember that when at some point in this like spiritual journey of mine, I did get this hit about being like this canary in a coal mine. And I did talk about it in the early days of Shine Your Light Oracle, how I was getting this hit about being this canary in the coal mine who is like meant to fly into the cave all by herself, and then to come out saying all is fine, there is nothing at all whatsoever to fear. And I do feel like on some level, and I'm sure I'm not alone, but to go has been like going without like any sort of like safety net in terms of finances, or even a roof in some cases at times, even without a roof over my head here in downtown Los Angeles, if you can imagine, where like the third world condition, like the destitution here are like third world conditions. But experiencing that and then coming through and realizing I was safe all along. I always had what I needed, even when the world tells you need to have 3 square meals a day or a certain number of calories a day. I definitely went without any of that stuff. And I'm here today to tell you that I felt safe, even though it was uncomfortable and it was not easy. I somehow knew this was part of my karmic journey, part of my part of what I had to learn, that I may eventually be able to like teach from this place of experience, to come back and say that, yeah, there is truly nothing at all whatsoever to fear. So when your heart tells you to go there and do that, trust it and trust that you'll be provided for. And, when I talk about like, when people say karma or karmic lessons or karmic rewards or karmic journeys, there's like a fear of like a little bit of dread that might strike the heart. But what I had learned through that experience of being like nearly homeless and going without food for a couple of days even at a time, was that the universe puts us through adversity, those really, really, really tough times. And for me, it will be very different for it will be very, very different for someone else to go through whatever their karma is than it was for me, and what my karmic journey and the lessons that I am meant to learn in this life are. They're going to be different for each person. That's not to say that everyone is going to be like homeless or without food for a time, but it's just for us to go through that, to recognize that, yeah, anything is really possible. The universe is a glorious and miraculous place. That even though the world has sort of like conditioned us to fear this, fear that, fear going outside your door, really it is a safe place. This is our home. We create it just as much as it we create our reality just as much as it is created for us, as long as we accept that there is truly no separation between us and the universe. It's just like there are these scary things, or things that we've been conditioned to believe are scary. Anyway, that's just like a little tidbit into what I had experienced, and that was just last summer. But I pinch myself now, because life is truly like, I know that I'm going to go through another set of like karmic lessons. I don't know what that will look like. And what I'm also learning, at least for my own personal journey within this life, it's about learning about true security. What is security? Who provides security? Who's providing? Who's truly providing for us, if we are in alignment with our truth, and our truth, which is God's truth as well. Who is really truly providing? Oh, and that reminds me of one more thing that sort of guided my path since my very early adulthood. Um, and there are never any accidents, and spiritual teachers come to us from anywhere. And there was a professor in one of my English literature classes, and I was again like 18 or 19, because I was very hungry, I guess, for like the truth. I was hungry for like, what is real in this world? What is, and I'm 48, almost 49 now, so it's been a 30-year journey of questing since then. But I got into class one day, and on the board, the professor had written in Latin, and I wish I could remember it in Latin. But in English, it means, to those who do what is in them to do, like what is in their heart to do, let's say, what has been placed on their heart to do, God will not deny grace. And that is not just a Catholic tenet. That is universal. The universe will not deny you grace. When you are true to what your heart is telling you to do, when you're true to your authentic self, God will not deny you grace. And I had to cling on to that even in the darkest times, where all faith could have been lost. But you get through it, and you come out roaring. And I talked about this a little bit when I came out of it, which would be about October of 2023, because it was like a summer of like, it was the harrowing summer, one of the hardest summers of my life, where I was having to go day by day, trying to get a roof over my head, one night at a time, one day at a time. and sometimes not literally not having a roof over my head or food in my belly, but also having a little cat friend to take care of, and also to allow to take care of me in that time. But by October, I could feel the density leave my body on one hand, but I recognized that I had gotten through it, and I wanted to come out roaring. Like I'd never, I'm like I identify as a woman in this life, so I never felt the need to roar, which I kind of think of as a kind of like Tarzan alpha male kind of thing. But it was the first time in my life that I felt like I could truly roar like a Queen of Wands, like a lion, like a Leo. And that's why we go through that, to show us who we really are, to show us what we're really made of, which is like pure light and infinite divine genius, courage and strength. Anyway, so yeah, I pinch myself now because I'm so not there. I'm provided for. I'm like happier than I've ever been. I feel more free than I've ever been. And I get to do the work that I love. I don't do like the 9 to 5 grind, or like 12-hour grinds as some people do it. Yeah, and I'm just doing what is in my heart to do, which is read cards, which I have to trust is helping people. Oh, sorry, I'm like all over the place, but this also occurred to me as I was starting to learn how to read cards, and trusting that this is what I need to do somehow, because I left a very conventional life of, I had an interior design business, and I had a furniture store, a 20,000 square foot furniture store in Center City, Philadelphia. I had very like preppy friends, and I was still very much in the spiritual closet. But I moved out to California where I could kind of be anonymous, and that's part of the freedom. Kind of be anonymous, where no one really knew me, and I could dabble in stuff like tarot, and not really tell like my sort of like, you know, more, you know,
Buttoned
conventional
up,
or preppy or
but more
whatever
buttoned
sorts of
up friends.
friends.
Yeah.
But I had to so I was doing this, and doing it more publicly, and but I was also at the time kind of like living out of a closet in a friend's house. Like I was in this little corner of the house in San Diego as I was doing this work, as at the birth of Shine Your Light Oracle, but trusting that on one hand, not only do I love it in a way that I haven't loved any other sort of job, and I try to do jobs that I love, but this filled my heart and my soul in the way that nothing else ever had. And then experiencing the responses from others as a result of the work that I do for them also was a kind of like energy exchange like I had never known before. And yet, like I didn't have the material trappings that I had known before, but you kind of know that it doesn't matter as long as like that you're doing what you love. And more than anything, I felt like I am positioned where I am so that I could help whomever. And when I first started Shine Your Light Oracle, I told myself, if I can just help one person, then that's the person that I'm meant to help. That's the one person that I'm meant to shed my ego for, and just like and tell my story, or like struggle through learning how to read tarot until I feel more proficient. And like it's really about a freedom from fear, and the freedom from ego, because it's really a shyness that is that is rooted in the ego. It's not a humility. We often confuse. Sorry, I'm rambling. I'm talking too much, I guess, but a lot is coming to me. But we often associate shyness, timidity with humility, but it's actually the ego that causes us to be shy and to hide and not to live our truth. And not living our truth also keeps us from helping those who need us. So yeah, it's trusting that, yeah, I also I also have a responsibility. If it's in my heart to do something, it's also my responsibility to be like the embodiment of love, just pure love, whether it's your love or for a specific task or activity or person. It's just love, and all love is equal in the eyes of God, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as God is concerned, I imagine. So yeah, just doing what you love and being the embodiment of that love can't be wrong. And I would have to tell myself that there's no way this can be wrong. Even if I'm not making any money, and even if my friends are telling me, Christina, you're too old to be living like that. I How can it be wrong? It feels too good. And it feels like I help genuinely. So yeah, how can that be wrong?
And you do genuinely help. You absolutely
Thank you.
do. And for anyone who is wondering about the way Christina reads and the way that she works with the cards, if you are to come for a one-on-one session, a private session with her, she doesn't ask you to bring your questions. She doesn't want to know what is going on or your story. She just allows whatever comes through with the help of the cards, channeling through whatever wants to come through to come through. And I have some crazy stories of that one deck that you were using where the King of Pentacles, the card looks exactly like my husband. It is bizarre.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
that card, and he
I
looks
remember
like the
that card
lawyer in a
now.
blue suit with a beard. And it was, yeah, and that card,
Yeah.
and I remember that reading. I didn't tell you I was coming about anything my relationship related, but the the lover's card from every deck you use, the lover's card would come out, the King of Pentacles would come out, and it was just magical to witness and to receive
Wow.
as a client, as someone not seeking advice, to seeking to feel better, but someone who is looking, my connection in this moment is faltering, like my connection is not strong with the divine. And Christina is, she really is an oracle in so many ways, that keeps her channel pure, that keeps, both with the substances she avoids, with her own practices. She always talks about how in the mornings she likes to do readings in the mornings because that's when she's the most clear. So there's so much integrity around readings, that is, throw away everything you know about tarot readers, the ideas, the images of the old ladies sitting with, doing the witchy things. Christina is, as if you follow her, her fashion is on point.
What?
She always has the cutest haircut.
Oh my
She
gosh.
is the modern, the modern oracle. I don't
Cute.
have another way to describe it, but with so much integrity and so much, there's no filter. It just comes through, right? I mean, there is a filter because everyone is a human. There is a body that this is coming through and you're channeling it, but it's you have this gift for allowing what has to come through and really just delivering it. And also a wealth of symbology and all of these things you tap into
Wow.
to deliver the message. And I can feel your hands a little itchy to pull some cards for
I
us.
will, I will.
Oh, there's
Thank you
something
for
I
saying
forgot.
all of that. That is so kind.
There's something
And
I
I have to
forgot,
say,
Christina.
this is, sorry.
Something I forgot, and I wrote it
Oh
down. When you
yeah.
said the 555, you were like, oh, when you see the 555, what I heard immediately was 555, freedom is on the other side. It's like, don't
Wow.
fear it.
Yes.
Freedom is on the other side.
Oh my God,
So,
that can be our
yeah.
mantra when we see 555. Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
absolutely what it's leading toward. But thank you. I wanted to pick up on something that you had said about this being a gift to like just let it through. But that's also where courage comes in. Because if I get a hit and I'm like, I have to say that, I have to say this to this person, especially if it's live. Okay. It's a risk. I'll sometimes even tell you, like, it's risky for me to say this, but integrity is at stake. Yeah, this is my responsibility. I'm here to say this. You might never want to talk to me again, or you might need to talk to me again because I said it as it came. And it's not, the message isn't mine to edit. And I have to surrender. I have to be like, as hard as that is sometimes. And also some things are like, I learn as I go. Like I learn from each of your like each of you as I read for you, because everyone is going through their own thing, and it's not possible that I could have possibly experienced everything. So as I'm channeling for you, or channeling your higher self, or maybe an ancestor, or even your spirit baby, or even like a living child in your midst, whomever, as I'm saying it, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know that that's a thing. And like, it might sound crazy, but then when I say it, to get the affirmation from the person, as though to say that, yeah, that actually means something to me, teaches me also to trust my intuition more. And so I hope that anyone who trusts their intuition gets that kind of affirmation, so that they know that, yeah, their intuition is good. So keep doing it, as radical as it might be at times. So, and that's also why I continue doing Shine Your Light Oracle, just to make sure that it's sort of like my own personal like litmus test for my own like guidance. So if I'm still clear with others, and in what I'm saying, or what their readings that I'm doing for them are resonating for them, then I can trust my own guidance for myself too. As like crazy and radical a path that it might be taking me on, and it is. It really is. But I guess that's the point too. Oh, so shall I pull cards?
Yeah, so we are recording this, and I am releasing it on the same day that we are recording this, before the lunar eclipse, March 25th, and solar eclipse on April 8th, 2024. But all Shine Your Light Oracle messages are timeless. So whenever you're listening to this, this is something Christina always says as she starts her messages. Can you tell that I've listened to a lot of your Instagram lives and your recordings, that I can basically verbatim repeat what you say as you prepare to give your
I know, sometimes I wonder if I should try to change it up, but I can't
No,
seem to
no.
make
It's
it more accurate than
perfection.
that.
It's perfection. It's perfection. Don't change
Thanks.
this thing a, a single bit. Okay. I feel the
So I don't know if
energy.
you saw those cards fly out.
No, what flew out?
As you were talking, they flew out kind of like a swoop and then landed. There are, I think, three, but we'll reveal them all together. So, wow, I love it. Three of Wands, Ten of Pentacles, and the Page of Wands. Wow, okay. Well, Three of Wands would be the expansion. Ooh. So, and magnetism, this is the energy of the law of attraction for me. And we think about what we bring about, or we attract our vibrational match, as I always say. So we act out of all these higher vibrational frequencies, these emotions of higher vibrational frequency, of love, of faith, of, I don't know, positivity in general. And we magnetize in this abundance, this long-term stability and abundance. And this is freedom. What?
The Page of Wands.
This Page of Wands is signifying freedom to do and be and create. I always think of the Page of Wands as the Fool, but with a wand, with the magic wand. The Fool in the tarot would be stepping out onto the abyss in complete faith, knowing that they're supported. As I always say, when we take the leap of faith, the universe rises to meet us, even if we don't see where we're going to land or where our foot will land. It's a matter of, and this is also like the law of attraction. It's this faith that we manifest, in faith that we manifest that stepping stone. We have to take the step first. And that's also contrary to the conditioning of this world, which would tell us, and this is coming from a place of experience, that it's not about having like all like having the stability in place before we take the leap, before we make moves. It's about making the move first, and then the universe provides. It goes that in that direction according to the laws of the universe, and as far as I've experienced them. It's not the other way around. It's not about having the stability and security, at least in this like old earthly sense that we act. It's like acting like this, like this child with wide-eyed wonderment and enthusiasm. But yeah, there's like this law of attraction manifesting in this long-term stability, but with the attitude of this fool with a magic wand, with this confidence. Like it's this kind of like this kind of blind or even like naive confidence, which is not so naive, because the fool is actually an old soul in an old body. Anyway, so there's that. And it's funny that it's kind of like picking up on the theme. And I don't know how long you want me to go for, but let's see. There it is.
More cards
So that
falling
flipped
out.
out.
Always.
Wow. Yes. And also other readers might just like put them back in if they think it's too many. But even the way cards come out and how many come out has a message. There's a message inherent in that as well. So this is what I'm loving, is that there's a kind of like somersaulting and tumbling energy of the way the cards are coming out. And it's feeling like the little gymnast here, who's going to be each one of us, hopefully, as we're watching this reading, hopefully identifying with it. But we have all this wands energy, page of wands, 3 of wands, and the 2 of wands. And this would be the portal. This is entering the intersection. And knowing that we have it, oh, whoa, I see a choice for many, this 8 of Cups. Being at the intersection and recognizing that I can take a new approach. I can take the left or the right or forward. But it's looking like whatever this intersection, whatever is presented to this person at the intersection is about walking away from what's no longer in alignment with how we see ourselves, what no longer is fulfilling, or maybe never was fulfilling. And that's kind of like at the very basic level, that is guidance. If we love it, then that is like a magnet to a magnet to our soul. If we don't love it, it's kind of like a repulsion. We're meant to like therefore move away from it. But there's like an acknowledgement that yeah, this is not fulfilling. And therefore I must pivot away. And that seems to be what someone is recognizing as they approach an intersection in their life.
Christina, I feel like this is the collective thing. It's the portal that is coming up for the collective to see
Yeah.
it as the gates are opening. This like I almost see like that, that like the eclipse, it's like that ring, the solar ring, right? Like that ring of fire
Yeah.
around that's the portal that is the invitation. And it's interesting because it's water and fire, the cups and the wands right there. And it's like you're allowing yourself to be cleansed free of it and walk through this portal that you're mentioning, the 2 wands, this like circle solar gate. Like I'm seeing the solar gate that you're being invited to walk through.
This is amazing. I've never experienced this before, Kat. But what just happened right now is like a tandem tarot reading, because now you've explained to me what this ring is in this person's hand.
Oh,
That's the
wow.
eclipse. And yeah, typically the 2 of wands would signify a portal, but it's like really like dropping something.
And for anyone who is listening and not watching, which this will be on YouTube so you can watch, but the deck that Christina is using, the 2 of wands, has a circle that looks like the ring.
Yes.
That's
Like an
wild.
eclipse.
Yeah.
A partial solar eclipse. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's something that needs to be dropped or pivoted away from,
Yeah.
that we are left with like this passion, this new beginning, and we're like seizing it. There's a call to seize it. Oh, yeah, because there is a feeling like, yeah, I didn't really love that anyway. I'm getting from this 8 of Cups. I didn't really love that anyway. And it's a level of integrity, using your word, this achievement of integrity and coming to terms with, yeah, I don't identify with this or with them or whatever this place is. Okay, a little bit more, I guess. I'm until you like let me know. We'll see. Oh, there we go. I see. There's like this sort of playful and like soaring or tumbling. It's this energy of this gymnast, and it's the first time I've ever thought of her as a gymnast, but she looks like it today in the way the cards are tumbling out. Is sort of gymnastic like, which is very playful. Wow. So we have the Seven of Cups and this Page of Swords. So it's interesting that we have like a kind of progression happening here with the page who is carrying an ace, 2 of Wands and 3 of Wands, and then we have the 7 of Cups and the 8 of Cups. And it seems as though like at the beginning of you're at the or someone is at the beginning of a quest. So curiosity was piqued about something. Curiosity was feeling like a mild curiosity, something that in a previous time in their life they would not have taken very seriously. But this curiosity is turning more into a quandary and confusion because there's a kind of like obsession, mild obsession, or did I say quandary already? Like it's feeling like there's questioning that this is bringing about, like that this person can't seem to let go of. And so this is guidance from their higher self. And maybe this is like learning to trust that guidance. That it's not a passing fancy. It's not a mild curiosity. It's sticking with this person. In fact, it's someone's dreams, someone tapping into their dreams. Something else that I always say is that our dreams are our destiny. And it's our responsibility to pursue those dreams, not only for ourselves and our truth, but also for those whom we ultimately help or serve by living out our dreams.
When you were
Because
saying
living
that,
out our dreams is not just in the service of us.
yeah. When you were saying, when you were holding up the cards, what I was seeing was the collective, literally the circle of people standing there and being asked to release the question. It's like everyone is,
Yeah.
the voice is saying, can you release this question and trust your dreams instead? And
Yes. Dreams.
release the mind and allow the dreams, the watery dreams to flow in. It's like the
Yes.
moon energy. Allow that energy to come in and
Yes.
be the guide as you release the mind and that question that
Yes.
you're holding on so strongly.
Yes. I love that. Thank you. More, and I feel like I'll look at the bottom of the deck after this last shuffle. Please, what else, please? For those who are watching or listening today, please. Anything else, please, before I look at the bottom of the deck? Oh, there it is. Okay, and then we'll look at the bottom of the deck. So we have, oh, it's so interesting. We have another set of threes. Wow. Okay, so Lover's card, Temperance card. And this is the Lover's card that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The Lovers, energy of Gemini, not necessarily that you or someone you're dealing with has Gemini in strong placements in their chart, but this is a matter of when it comes to making choices, following your heart over your head. Again, dropping out of your head, as you were saying, and into your heart, and allowing your heart to magnetize you forward, to pull you forward. And this is healing for the heart. Wow. Archangel Raphael is the heart chakra healer. And this is how you in tandem, speaking of tandem, with Archangel Raphael, heal your heart by listening to your heart, by empowering your heart, or whomever is listening. And I love that this 10 of Wands is here because it is signifying the culmination. Because whatever life that had brought you up until this point of this up until this intersection, let's say, or whomever, or this feeling of like dismay. It's feeling like dismay and recognizing this isn't me. I don't identify with this. This is this is ending. This is intolerable even. It's gone to the point where it's intolerable. And for some, it's feeling like they're knowing it on a visceral level. Like every cell in their body is in revolt in this old place. And I like, if you don't mind me like referring back to another bit of personal experience, I did try, like I started doing Shine Your Light Oracle, and I had to I quit my career, or actually I was let go from this like job that I was doing for a furniture company here in California. But when it all went away, like out of nowhere, like I trusted the universe to pull me over to California for this job. It was also seamless. Like I was floating, like they just sort of like floated me across the country, and then it felt what felt like dropped me off and abandoned me. But I tried to go back into that business a little bit, even after I had started to like step into this whole new reality. And I feel like someone must trust this when they experience it. But this one day I went into that job in that old life, and every cell of my body knew didn't want to be here, and I couldn't take it. I'd actually given my notice, my 2-week notice, about a week before, but I knew that I couldn't even last another 10 minutes. And you have to act on it, no matter how impractical it might seem. The rational mind will tell you no, or your parents will tell you no. You have to responsibly see your way through to the end of those 2 weeks, or at least to the end of that shift. But you have to trust your heart, your body. It's telling you this is the end of not living this truth, let's say. But yeah, this is the beginning of true healing of your heart first. And for some of those who are listening and watching, this is so that they too can become a healer. Okay. Shall we look at the bottom of the deck, or do you want me to shuffle a little bit more?
No,
What do you
look at the
feel?
bottom of the deck.
Okay. The bottom of the deck we have, wow, oh my God. We were just talking about this tower before we started recording. So yeah, we're moving into eclipse season. And I had been getting this in public readings as well as in private readings, that this is a dismantling. And there are more traditional readers that would tell us that the tower is something to fear. But it's really, as with all fear, it's the ego that tells us that it's something to fear. But this is, if we look at this in the right way,
And can you describe
from
what
an
the
enlightened
card looks like
perspective.
for anyone who's just listening?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's a pyramid, an upright pyramid and an inverted pyramid, sort of balancing on top of each other. But the universe is knocking off what's throwing off. And if we think of the tower in our lives as orchestrated by the universe, as the universe trying to help us achieve balance, this is also a card of balance. Then we're like, thank you. I might have been in denial about how imbalanced I was, or how unhappy or unfulfilled I was. But the universe is like not allowing me to live beneath my truth anymore, or helping me to live a little that much more truthfully by throwing off the excess, whatever is throwing off my balance. But there's also this blending of the masculine and feminine energy with this inverted pyramid and the upright pyramid, because together, I love it. Together, oh my God, this is the best tower card that we could get today for eclipse season, because the two pyramids form the cube of Merkaba, which is which is associated with Archangel Metatron, the keeper of the Akashic records. So can you trust that, to whomever is listening, that this pivot, that this visceral reaction to this old reality is part of your Akashic records, is already written. And it's just a matter of aligning with that story. And it's written on the tablet of our hearts, Gemini energy. So we're basically like reading off of our heart. And that's healing for our heart. And the more we heal it, the more audible our heart becomes, the stronger and more powerful that guidance is. We also have Pluto very active here and scorpionic energy. But I hope that means something to someone. But it feels very eclipsey.
Yeah.
A kind of like radicalness, because I'm seeing light and dark so much in this reading, such a strong contrast among these cards here.
And before we started recording, we were talking about how we both feel the same, that the eclipse season window will last 6-9 months. So
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean you'll be in a tower moment for 6 to 9 months. It's always
Right.
up to us how we move through things, but it makes this reading even more relevant for a longer window, because we will be feeling the effects of the energies for a while.
Yes. And that's also why Archangel Raphael is here, because this is the energy of patience and temperance. And like this temperance is our true and natural pace. Again, the world, the conditioning that we've been sort of like brought up with is that we're meant to rush around to achieve as much as we can possibly achieve in a day, in a week, in a lifetime. But the universe is like, slow your roll. Slow your roll. And you don't need to expect to get through this tower season or eclipse season overnight. Take it in stride with this temperance card. Wow, thank you for having me, Kat.
Thank you for being here. And there is one more thing that I wanted to share, a saying that Christina has shared with me that I now share with my clients, my friends, everyone. And it's sort of like a motto that you live by, that the universe signs my paycheck, that it's that belief that as we transition out of the old paradigm, the old structures and systems, we're moving into the new earth, the new version of the society that we're building, the new version of the way of being. And if we can all start seeing it a little bit, little by little, or jump off the cliff and believe it very quickly, whichever way you choose, that the universe is ultimately the provider of
Yeah.
all, and we are here to follow the divine breadcrumbs. I don't know why that the divine
Yeah.
breadcrumbs is, and you're such a good connector of those divine breadcrumbs for others, that it's, yeah. So how can people find you? Where can they find you? Your website, how can they make a booking, your Instagram?
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Well, I publish my public readings on Instagram, and that's at Shine Your Light Oracle, all together in one word. And my website is www.shineyourlightoracle.com. And through that, you can read a little bit more about the types of readings, or your viewers and listeners can find out more about my types of readings and how to book. It's possible to book through the website, but they're also welcome to email me directly at shineyourlightoracle@gmail.com. So yeah, and
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to meeting and reading for whomever feels drawn to me. I welcome that
I
opportunity.
have a feeling
Be honored by that
they will be
opportunity.
magnetized. I feel like they're going to feel the magnetism of this conversation, and their hearts magnetizing them to you. So
Wow. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Oh my gosh.
Christina. And thank you to you for listening and watching. And until next time.